everyone, this is Anne, and this is the third edition in my Chatelaine Diaries vlogs. Today is Friday, August, I think it's the 19th, 2017, and I'm here to just show you guys what I've been working on for the last 6 days with this pattern from Chatelaine, which is the Desert Mandala. So here is the mock-up of what it's going to look like when it's done. And I am still working on the centerpiece, which is this section right here. These yellow flowers as well as the pink ones, and then the kind of evening silhouette part. So here is what I have accomplished over the last 6 days rotation. The last time that you guys saw it, I had this top part done. I have added in, this part was started, but I have added in more of the lightning bolt. I've extended this like sunset dusk purple to magenta gradient in. I stitched more of the tree. I stitched the little coyote. He is 1/1. See if I can get that close enough that you guys can see those stitches. So I worked on him. He is done. And the other thing that I did this go round was I got this bright purple magenta border blocked out. I had it done to about here, I think, last time you saw it, and to about here at the top. And so I decided that it would be really smart to kind of give myself a set of place markers, if you will, in space. So I finished this gold arc and this gold arc. And by doing that, then I was able to figure out, make sure when I counted that the magenta border was going to work out, made sure that the tree and this black section on each side was appropriately counted and appropriately stitched. And then I continued the border around so that I kind of had my side point over here as I'm working down this side. So this is what I have been working on most recently. There's a spot left right here. That is going to be the 1/1 hawk, which obviously I haven't gotten to yet, but that is here on the mock-up. The spots that are left here on this inside part of the magenta border are going to be beads, there's like a center column of beads right here. They're actually treasures. And there'll be beads, another treasure right here in the center of each of those pink flowers when I get that far. I have a little bit of the lightning left to do, which once I get into this next color, there's 2 more colors, I believe it is, in the kind of pinky purple hues that'll be stitched here. Have to continue the lightning bolt down a little bit, so that's what this thread is waiting on. Martina gives you the option on this pattern of back stitching the coyote, and I think I will probably do that just to even out some of the curved lines, like in the curve of his back and the curve of his snout, but I'll do that once I've got the background color stitched in. There are a few stitches that will be stitched in this next purple color that will be 1/1 that will fill in any of the over 2 squares. If I've only done, let's say, 1 stitch in the black, there'll have to be a corresponding purple color to make it match up with like a 2/2 block that's this size, if that makes sense. So there'll be a few over 1 stitches here in the purple, and then the rest of the purple will be 2 over 2. So the bulk of that centerpiece is a 2 over 2 with DMC. That's what the color is here, or the thread is here. This is a petite treasure braid. It's black with a little bit of silver in it. I'm not sure that that's reading really well, but it does from a distance kind of look almost like the wet bark of a tree as compared to the flatter black. That's the 310. That is the ground over here, and will continue to be the silhouette here. Let's see, trying to think any other little details. I think I mentioned in my last video, I will not be applying the beads until I'm completely done all of the other stitching. I will continue putting in the petite treasure braid, which is what you see here. There's a silver, and there's also a sort of antique gold that's right here. So I will be working with the petite treasure braid, but I'm going to hold off on the beads until this is completely, all the cross stitching is done. So I felt like I made pretty good progress on this over this 6-week period. Thank you all for your questions and your comments with my other 2 videos. I hope that I answered everybody's queries about things, particularly like the difference in the hand-painted silks and which ones were maybe a must-buy. And I am going to try to compile a list once I get a little bit further along and that I've worked with more of the hand-painted silk colors, so that I can give you guys my opinion only, but ones that I think that you could place out if you wanted to substitute DMC and keep the cost down a little bit, versus ones like this one, which is Bluegrass, Gloriana, I believe it is, that you can see that's a really highly variegated colorway that would be totally different with the cat hair, would be totally different if you tried to use a DMC equivalent. There's so many colors in that one little bit. I don't think that you would be as happy with it. Other modifications that I've made as opposed to purchasing the rayon thread, I just subbed in 3799 DMC for a slightly different dark blackish gray. And there will be the cactus that are here that will be done in that colorway too. And I'm perfectly content with how that's working up. I think it looks fine. I think it just gives it an interesting shading without being a crazily different color. The other thing I did want to note is if you all look at the mock-up next to the actual stitching, you will see that there's some differences. Martina does not stitch a sample version that you will see like on her website or on the European Cross Stitch website. So this is a mock-up of her design that's computer generated. So for instance, this very magenta, this bright reddish purple that's the border, I don't think that really reads here on her pattern. I don't think you see that at all. And not that I am upset or, unhappy with that. I just wanted to make a note for any of you who are looking at patterns on her website that, just take into account that the design is, as I say, it's like a computer generated mock-up of what the design will look like. It doesn't exactly duplicate the colors. And for instance as well, this section right here, that's with the flower. It's like the leaves in this darker green. In real life, that's the bluegrass. And there's no way for her to translate that level of variegation into a mock-up. So there's definitely some differences between how the mock-up version looks and how it looks in real life. The color depth is so much more intense in real life, in person. So just be prepared for that. It won't be exactly matchy, but I think it actually takes things up a step, cranks it up a notch when you have the addition of the variegated flosses and of course things like the treasure braid that and the beads would not appear as sparkly or sparkly at all in the mock-up. So all of those little details and all of those little kind of small touches are really, I think, what make these projects so amazing. I'm really enjoying working on this. I am having a hard time putting it down, but I'm trying to stick to my rotation. So hopefully the next 6 days when I pick this back up in September, and I'm going to work on this probably the first week of September to stitch along with Sarah at Stitchin' Mommy, since she's going to be starting her first chatelaine. I'd like to try to finish this section if I can, and possibly also work on the 1/1 hawk here, finish up this little corner just to have that done. I think that's doable over 6 days. We'll see how much farther I get. The other reason that I kind of wanted to work on getting this border in was these flowers don't use very much in terms of length of your floss. And so I thought, well, I could do finish all of the 3 remaining ones up when I pull that floss out next time. And having the border in place means I can actually figure out where those are supposed to go and know that I'm going to get them in there right, as opposed to having them sort of floating in space somewhere over here without that border to give me a count point from. So I think that is it for this edition. If you have any questions about what I've been working on or how I'm doing things or what the heck I'm doing with this, please feel free to ask. As always, your comments and questions are appreciated, and I will do my best to get back to folks in a timely fashion. So stay tuned for the next edition of the Chatelaine Diaries in September of 2017, coming up here in just a couple weeks. Thanks you guys for watching. Take care.